talk or a lecture on leadership.
What did you tell them about leadership?
Well, I told them about leadership basically three things. One, most importantly, leaders have convictions. You have to have a philosophy, a core and a philosophy, so that you know right from wrong. And I think most leaders, all leaders, have had that. And I referenced John Kennedy's Profiles of Courage, which you were in the room when I once mentioned that before, talking about how important it is that you don't have to go with the winds. Leaders don't look at polls to make decisions. Leaders make decisions based on what their convictions are. The second thing I talked about was optimism. Leaders all throughout the world, one thing that they all have, they're all optimistic. And it's very, very important that you engender a sense of optimism. And when something goes wrong, you can do the woe is me for about 30 seconds and try to find the opportunity in what has gone wrong to make it better and to make it better for you overall. And then the third thing overall in leadership is teamwork. Probably one of the hardest things to do for a leader is to engender teamwork. You can have a multitude of people like this, like all of you here, all working together, not being competitive, but working towards a common goal. That's an outline of what I just spoke about.
What's your message to leaders in Washington as the government shuts down? And how do you think it'll affect, if it will, your campaign as a Republican running in a...
Well, I have been purposely out, speaking and stating that I think what they're doing is flat out wrong. They're not working for the people who elected them to the positions that they're in. The government is allowing extremists to take positions and hold the positions and hold the government and the people of this country hostage. Anybody who wants to tag me with what's going on in Washington, I think is going to be making a very, very big mistake. Not all Republicans believe that what's going on is the right thing to do. I've not agreed with anything the Tea Party has done. I think they're way off base in where they're going and what they want to do and the extremist point of views that they have. And then on top of it, I will stand with Pete King, somebody who I've known for almost 25 or plus years. He and I agree on a lot of specific things together, and I stand with him on his position. What they're doing is outrageous and wrong, and they need to stop it. The government of the United States of America needs to be able to continue to work and move forward.
Have you spoken to any of New York's other Republican congressmen on that topic?
Briefly with Congressman Grimm, who is from Staten Island.
And what did you say to him?
I just expressed my opinion. That's it.
This morning. Do you support Obamacare?
Excuse me?
Do you support Obamacare?
Major parts of it I do, and some parts that I don't. What I've said in the past about healthcare is that there isn't one perfect way to deal with healthcare. Different countries, different communities throughout the world deal with it differently. It's evolving, and we have to have it evolve. The hang up on Obamacare in this particular case is wrong. Using it as leverage is wrong. Shutting down the government in this case is wrong.
What was your conversation with Congressman Grimm? He ended up voting with the other House Republicans to...
My conversations with any elected members are private.
Are you disappointed in his vote?
Am I disappointed? I'm disappointed with the shutdown. I am. I am very disappointed. I don't think it's profiling courage. It's it's absolutely the opposite.
This morning, Mayor Julie,
that people should have health care, should be required to buy health care?
I'm sorry?
Do you believe in a requirement that New Yorkers and citizens...
Well, in New York, it's not an issue. All New Yorkers have health care. New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation provides health care to anyone in the city of New York, whether you have insurance or not. New York City has had this position for as long as I can remember, at least that I've been on this earth. It's not an issue for New York City. Everybody in New York City has access to good quality health care.
But New Yorkers will be covered by the mandate to buy health insurance, so do you agree with that?
I have some issues with it. It needs to be developed more fully.
What are your issues?
I'm not fully prepared to discuss it.
What part of Obamacare don't you agree with?
I'm not prepared to discuss it. Any other questions?
Yeah, this morning, Mayor Giuliani said that Bill de Blasio subscribes to an anti-police ideology. He pointed to his arrest record, said it comes from a very left-wing ideology, an anti-police ideology. Is this something you agree with?
Just a question for you. Where was Mayor Giuliani when he said these things?
At breakfast this morning in Manhattan.
Oh, okay. I think Bill's personal philosophies and mine are very, very different. I've talked about it last week a lot. The specific things is that I think, give me one more time about what he says.
There's an anti-police ideology. He pointed to his arrest record, said comes from this very left-wing ideology, which is an anti-police ideology. This guy's been arrested a number of times. Most of it shows an anti-establishment attitude,
right?
Which means
Look,
anti-police.
I'll use different words than Mayor Giuliani did. I think Bill's support of Judge Heinlein's ruling, which I know will be overturned because I know how ill-conceived it is. His support of making sure that the veto was overridden regarding the Community Safety Act. Here's how I know it's wrong. It's because it's automatically within that law a presumption of guilt that whatever a police officer does, they have to presume that they're not innocent, but that they're proven guilty. And it's really the reverse of what the jurisprudence system has been in this country. If anyone who believes a cop is doing anything wrong, that cop is presumed guilty and has to prove that he's innocent. It's the complete opposite of American jurisprudence.
You just said that you don't agree with a lot of the Tea Party philosophies. De Blasio's campaign put out a Tumblr page today that talked about things that you have said about your agreement with the Tea Party, including this quote: "My philosophical issues are very close to yours in many, many ways," you told a Tea Party audience in the Old Bermuda Inn in Rossville.
Right. I haven't seen the Tumblr page. I'm looking forward to it and how to see it. Yeah, I was out there talking about some issues. We had, in that debate out there, a vehement discussion, two different sides about gun control and their views on gun control. Their beliefs on taxes and how high taxes are in New York City, I did agree with overall. But we had a huge verbally violent discussion about gun control and what it means to New York City. So, you can take select information about a meeting that took an hour and take one sentence out and pull it out. It's not fair. I can't tell you how I disagree and have consistently disagreed with the Tea Party. And I think they're a bad force for the Republican Party.
Why?
And they're extremists, and they're moving a party in a direction that I think is wrong. There is a role for government in this world. They basically don't believe that there should be government. I just don't buy into them at all.
The title of this website is Goldwater plus Tea Party plus Giuliani equals Lhota. What do you make of that characterization?
Look, if Bill wants to run this race for character assassination, it makes me even more confident that I'm going to win. We need to be talking about, jobs. We need to be talking about public school education. Why aren't anybody asking him why he wants to destroy the charter schools that have been created in the city? Those same schools that are 97% of which are occupied by minorities, and they're getting a very good education. The idea that you want to tie me and make that algebraic equation that actually it's just addition is equal to me. It's really sad. Your colleague at the New York Times wrote a very good story, but he forgot to write in there the things that I disagreed with Barry Goldwater about and vehemently disagreed and verbally told him during the interviews that he was wrong voting against the Equal Rights Act at the time, and reminded him that it was the Republican leadership in the form of Everett Dirksen that made sure that the Civil Rights Act was passed. And you go back, that's ancient history. Goldwater was dead wrong in voting against that. He was dead wrong on many of his issues regarding race. They don't engender anything that I believe in. And if Bill wants to paint me in that position and not talk about the issues that are important to the people of the city of New York, he's making a very, very big mistake. He goes into one debate and he wants to slam me that way. I'll go toe-to-toe with him, but I'll beat him on the issues. I'm on the right side of the issues, whether it's job creation and how to deal with the issues of income inequality. You don't deal with income inequality with the various different things that he's doing around the edges. You need to create jobs. The only way known to mankind is to deal with income inequality is to expand the economy and create jobs and get people who are unemployed employed, people who are underemployed employed. I want to go toe-to-toe with him on education. He's in bed with the UFT. He doesn't care one bit about educating the children of the city. He cares more about making sure that Michael Mulgrew feels good when he goes to bed at night. Not me. I want to make sure that our children get the proper education necessary so they can survive and be functional in the 21st century. You know, when it comes to any questions regarding quality of life issues in this city, I've got plans on making it more affordable. I've got plans on building affordable housing. I've got plans about what we're going to do. I'm not going to be a mayor where crime goes up. I'm going to be a mayor where crime continues to go down. These are the issues that are important to the city of New York. Where's Bill? Get him out, have him ask questions, make sure that it's about the issues that are important to the future of the city of New York. Where's his vision? Where's his vision? Ask the question. Where does he want to go? I'll go toe-to-toe with him, and I'll win on November 5th because my ideas are significantly better than his because nobody knows what they are.
Joe, what about your ideas on transportation? Some transportation advocates with whom you used to work closely argue that you've turned away from transit advocacy and are espousing more of a pothole-filling road widening.
Right. You know, it's interesting because I keep reading these columns that are in Capital New York about this issue, and I'm very surprised because they really talk about things that when I'm out on Staten Island. And Staten Island doesn't have a significant amount of mass transit. And when I'm there, the reporter from Capital New York never talks about the fact that I want the West Shore Rail to be built, doesn't talk about the fact that I think we need to have the bus rapid transit on the North Shore, but wants to just write about, you know, the fact that one of the things I always do say, and always get a round of applause from the people on Staten Island, is that there are way too many potholes out there. Look, DOT has got to get their act together and make sure that our streets are in a state of good repair. That's important, but that's just one of many, many things that I talk about there, and there seems to be just selective journalistic skills to only talk about potholes and not talk about all of the things that I want to do to expand mass transit in that borough, in every other borough. I've talked about what we need to do up in the Bronx, that we have to have at least 3 or 4 new stops on Metro North in the eastern part of the Bronx, in and around Co-op City and various other ways to allow that part of the city to be connected to the rest of the city because of mass transit. I've talked about expanding the systems in different parts of Queens and extending a little bit from the original plan, not the original, but the updated plan that hasn't been really updated since 1939 about expanding the system. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about transportation. Call Jess.
Back to the Tea Party comments that you made. Do you find it paradoxical that the Koch brothers have put hundreds of thousands of dollars behind the candidacy, but yet they're essentially on the Tea Party side of the Republican Party?
It's a good question. I have received a check from David and Julia Koch for my campaign, and as I read in a newspaper that they're also part of an IE, which I don't know about. It's not the brothers, it's one. It's David. And David gave $81,000 to Andrew Cuomo, and you didn't ask him the same question. What you need to look at is who David Koch is. David Koch has spent an enormous amount of his own money philanthropically here in the city of New York. He's been able to, there are rooms and buildings named after him in this city, including over at Lincoln Center. He, like I, believes in a woman's right to choose. He believes, as I do, in marriage equality. David Koch's beliefs on social issues are no different than mine or my opponents when it comes to freedom, women's choice, women's issues, and other issues like that. Tying me together with the Tea Party is just not going to work. And if I'm tied to the Tea Party, so's Andrew Cuomo. Ask him about the $81,000 he received from David and Julia Koch. It's as simple as that.
Have you sat down with David?
I've met him once, as I've said in the newspaper.
Did you not know that Rudy was coming to town?
Rudy was coming. Is that a movie?
It sounds like.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if it's a movie. Rudy is the football movie that you're former.
Doesn't he live here?
Oh, he was speaking.
I didn't know he was speaking. I didn't know. Where was he speaking? He said at breakfast.
At the Harmony Club, some sort of breakfast.
Sorry, I wasn't aware of that.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks. See you later.